I will try this in German. And also I'm going to read from the paper. I hope you don't mind. But I don't think that there are words to express when something so great happens to someone you love. So especially if that someone is your sister. I think those of you who grew up so closely with your sister, maybe you can understand what I mean. So when I sat down to write this speech, I had a really hard time because from my earliest memory, Christine is just there in most of my life, every second with me. So I have a million memories of Christine, but overall, they're imbued with the sense of being taken care of and being carefree. I always felt that Christine was just there for me, and she was always looking out for me, and also Katie. And even though she's not even 2 years older, she always took 100% of all the responsibilities.
Good deal.
So, I did get a good deal. So in this short gap in our ages, she did everything first, so she required all of this responsibility, and she always knew and still knows what to do. I never had to worry, because Christine always knew what time we had to be home, if we were allowed to do what we were doing. If we weren't allowed, she would worry and I wouldn't have to. What to buy mom and dad for their birthdays and anniversaries, and what we should do in every situation. I still always could and still can rely on her. So we lovingly tease her about being a little bossy. But I also want to thank her for really looking out for me in all ways. That is a very special thing that I think not everybody has. So even now at this age, I have a list of things from Christine that I'm supposed to do every day. I have to wear sunglasses. I have to look both ways, even down a one-way street. This is an old thing, this is recently. I have to wear SPF sunscreen even when it is cloudy out. I have to go to the dermatologist once a year. I can count on getting a new task with every phone conversation. So and she's not just like this to me, her younger sister, but with everyone. Her friends, and my parents, and now, of course, Stefan. Christine is just someone who wants to take care of everyone. But Christine really was good at everything, and I always followed her example. So I have a memory when we were very young, the first time I remembered when I look back, we were at Applethorpe Park where my dad used to take us camping, and there was a water fountain, and I remember Christine was brushing her teeth, and she could make so much foam, like the adults did. I was so impressed. How did she do that? And then in Glenside, being in our house, and we were playing Barbies in her room, and her Barbie names were always so good. I used to count on my fingers. When I'm 8, she'll be 9. When I'm 10, she'll be 11. I'll never catch up. And I think I can probably remember her freshman dorm room in college better than her because I thought it was so cool. So she was always there and always a role model for me. And Christine is one of the most loyal and conscientious people I know, which I don't think I have to tell you all. She's normally on the quieter side and doesn't like to offend people. But if she ever sees someone being or saying offensive things to her friends or family, or even doing something that they shouldn't do, she doesn't hesitate. She just scolds them. You shouldn't do that. I'm sure you've seen her do that to someone. I knew that Stefan was the person Christine would marry from before the time I met him. When she first started talking about him in the fall of 2007, it felt different than the other guys. He met Christine's basic requirements. He was tall and handsome, and of course he had the prerequisite accent. But the way she talked about him was very calm and comfortable, very patient. Like there's no need to rush, this is just gonna work out. So when I saw his very kind face at Thanksgiving that year, I was so happy. I actually cut out a funny magazine picture I found during Christmas of 2007 to put in their engagement card. So in my opinion, we were a little slow to get to this day. Finally, whenever I go to Christine and Stefan's apartment in New York City, I always notice these two movies that are kind of at the front near the TV. Like they're just watched or about to be watched. And they're very different, but they're very harmonious sitting there together. It's Seinfeld and Pride and Prejudice. And they're always sitting with each other. TV, and it always makes me laugh because it reminds me of Christine and Stefan. Somehow it's just a perfect match. So, Christine, I love you, and thank you for being my big sister all these years, and continuing to be, I'm sure. And Stefan, I'm happy to welcome you to our family. I knew that whoever Christine would choose would be a great guy, but I'm glad it's you. And I think you are a very lucky man to have Christine as your wife, and I'm happy to have you as my only brother. So I know I echo the sentiments of everyone here when I wish you the greatest blessings in your life, and I toast to your great future.
Great job, Jean.